Thanks for staying with us. This is the AM News. Details now, beginning with 6 Ghanaian nationals have tragically died in Mecca due to a severe heat wave sweeping through Saudi Arabia, raising the death toll among Ghanaian pilgrims to 8. Abdul Rahman Al-Hassan Gumba, spokesperson for the Hajj board, confirmed the fatalities during an interview on City FM. The pilgrims staying in Medina as part of their religious journey faced extreme temperatures exceeding 41 degrees Celsius. In response to the intense heat, Saudi authorities mandated that all pilgrims stay within their tent during peak heat hours, that is between noon and 4 p.m. local time. Our condolences to the families of the bereaved. In other stories, it was a tense day yesterday as third accused in the ongoing ambulance trial, businessman Richard Jakpa, recounted how he declared war on the Attorney General for betraying him. He also disclosed that at one point in the case, he approached the Attorney General and suggested he be made a prosecution witness when the AG told him he could not file a process to terminate the case against him. He contended in open court that betrayal by Godfrey Yeboadame made him angry and pushed him to declare war against the Attorney General. On day 3 of his cross-examination by prosecution, Richard Jakpa says he refused Godfrey Dame's explanation that he is a collateral damage in the trial. Latif Idrisu was in court for us.
Richard Jakpa said he is angry at the Attorney General because the Attorney General had assured him that he will let him go at the no case submission stage of this particular trial, only for him, Godfrey Yeboadame, to disappoint him, and so he is angry at him. And according to Richard Jakpa, he declared war between himself and the Attorney General at the residence of his cousin, Unikolendi, when they met after the Attorney General had sort of disappointed him when it came to the no case submission stage, when he failed to back him. He declared war against the Attorney General and said that the Attorney General could go on and use all the legal brains that he had, but him, Richard Jakpa, would also go to his underworld powers, and then they will see who would survive on the street. He said the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboadame, had told him, Richard Jakpa, that he, Richard Jakpa, is a collateral damage in the ongoing trial and that he will be acquitted at the end of this ongoing case. And Richard Jakpa told him that he doesn't want to be a collateral damage because he is innocent and he's lost all his dealings, his international networks has been lost as a result, and that was when he declared war on the Attorney General. The Attorney General's Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Atuaye-Boa, speaking to journalists after the trial, said the declaration of war as stated by Richard Jakpa in open court today has put the Attorney General Department and the Attorney General himself on a lookout, and they are going to take the necessary measures to ensure that the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboadame, is safe.
You heard matters. You make your own judgment out of what you heard. You heard issues about someone operating in the underworld and someone using his legal skills, declaration of war against the Attorney General. All this came up. So, interesting proceedings.
What do you make of the fact that the Attorney General rejected an appeal he made to him to make him a witness when he said you couldn't get him something he had requested for?
That is the prerogative of Attorney General, and we use witnesses that we think will further our cause. There was no decision to use him as a witness. The only decision was to use a witness that we have penciled to call. We tendered what we had on our phone, 100%. If he has others, he knows what to do, because he's still in the box.
What do you also make that he make the point that there was never a plea bargain discussion between himself and the Attorney General?
We'll get there. They are documentary. We'll get there. Today we'll go to a certain point, so come to the chapter 3 and you hear all those things.
And how are the claim that he has declared a war on Attorney General?
I think it's quite unfortunate, to be frank with you, because that declaration of war, according to him, whether he is acquitted or whether he's convicted, is declared that war. So he has put us on notice. And so the needed steps will be taken.
Oh, wow. If indeed he said it to the Attorney General at his cousin's house, he should be aware of that already, not in open court.
AG has not admitted such a thing. And so now that we've heard it in open court, you will take the necessary steps.
As in security-wise for the Attorney General?
We'll take the necessary steps.
What would that step entail?
That step, when we take it, you get to know it.
Felix Kwachiofoso, who is a member of the opposition NDC, told journalists that the declaration of war by Richard Jakpa doesn't hurt his case.
We get the sense that the Attorney General wants to see that Mr. Jakpa is doing this in retribution for what he believed to be the Attorney General's failure to keep his part of the bargain. But the point is that Mr. Jakpa insisted that he has not said anything that hasn't happened. If I have discussions with you and we agree that you will do something and you fail to do it, and I come out to say that we agreed that we will do this and didn't do it, I have not said anything that is not true. If it were the case that Mr. Jakpa was saying things that have been proven to be untrue by the court, then you could say that some damage has been done to his reputation. But as of now, as far as he's concerned, he has not said anything that did not happen. So whether he was exercising a right of reply or his right to react to what the AG did to him is completely immaterial in this regard. What matters is that is he saying the truth? What is he saying? Is the AG able to contradict him?
In a related development, the trial of Minority Leader Dr. Kayode Forson is taking a major toll on the business of Parliament after the NDC MP's decision to boycott proceedings whenever their leader is in court. The NDC MPs boycotted a large part of the proceedings yesterday until the Minority Leader returned from court, only to enter the chamber and raise issues of quorum. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has a wrap of proceedings from the House.
The trial of Dr. Kayode Forson for causing financial loss to the state is happening in the courts, but having a cascading effect on the business of the House. You will recall last week when the House resumed, the minority did indicate that whenever their leader was in court for his trial, they will boycott proceedings. In fact, today they did. And today, sitting started nearly 3 p.m. because the minority MPs were not coming to the floor and the majority MPs also were not in their numbers. In fact, when sitting started, the MPs on the floor were not even up to 20. Later on, when the trial ended and the minority leader did walk into the floor, the NDC MPs started raising issues of quorum.
There is still no quorum. Suspend sitting of the House for a period of not more than 1 hour. Mr. Speaker, can you direct the clerk and table to conduct a head count?
They were recognized. No, we must correct that.
Honorable Chief Whip.
You were recognized. When you walked in, you were recognized. And when you walked in and you got up to speak, you were recognized. Let that go on the records. What is that?
The second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Amakwesiama, was now under pressure to act according to the dictates of the standing orders. The standing orders provide that whenever an MP raises an issue of quorum, he should instruct the table office to get the bells to be rung in the House. The bell did ring, and after 10 minutes, James Klucha-Veji was on his feet again, pressuring the Speaker of Parliament to actually go by the dictates of the House and suspend Parliament. This nearly degenerated into chaos because, according to the Deputy Speaker, as per his time, the 10 minutes provided by the standing orders had not reached, but it's not something the NDC MPs were ready to countenance.
I don't know the time you are using. My time is not up yet. I'm monitoring my time.
Mr. Speaker.
My time is not up to 10 minutes.
That the bell was rung. When the bell was rung, we all heard it. If you are telling this House or me that you are using your time,
Honorable Veji, I'm left with 2 minutes.
Standing order regulate the conduct of the House. If our own standing order says it, why? No.
Clerk at table.
Mr. Speaker.
Clerk at table.
Mr. Speaker, we are not asking you now
Clerk
to go.
at table.
Mr. Speaker, we are not asking you
Please
now to go.
Count the members.
No. Ultimately, the MPs on the floor were not up to 92, which would allow for MPs to proceed the business, and then proceeded to suspend sitting for an hour. It is clear that the minority are not willing to back down on their demand that the trial of the minority leader should cease. According to James Klucha-Veji and MP for Kintamponov, they are not trying to frustrate government business, but they are only asking for the right thing to be done.
We are here. We are here. We are ready to work. Is Honorable Ato Forson, who is the leader of the minority, also not qualified to represent his people? So if
he's there every day in court, are they not concerned that by that act, he's also not representing his people? If they want us to do the work, and which they attempt frustration, then they should allow Honorable Atuforson should also represent his people. They should drop the case.
It is just right that as a leader of the minority, we also show some sympathy and solidarity with him. Or if even it's midnight, we'll now be transacting government business, why not? We'll do. But in any case, it should be on record that now it's even the minority who are always more in the house. You are in the house here, you have been seeing it. Let your cameras always report it. It's we, the minority, who are always more even in the house.
In the coming days, more and more government business, key bills, among others, are expected to come to the floor. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, when the minority leader is away in court, being prosecuted for causing financial loss to the state, the House will suffer. It is not clear how long the minority intend to hold this, but they say that they are not going to relent in making this demand that the prosecution of their minority leader is dropped. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
Now to the issues of health. The Volta Regional Director of the National Health Insurance Authority, Joseph Homenya, has ridiculed claims that the scheme has collapsed and is unable to meet the claims demand of service providers. He indicated that the scheme is in the best of states and continues to function effectively with the digitization of its system to enhance services and the addition of medication and treatment for some chronic illnesses to the scheme. Mr. Homenya was speaking at the 2023 Annual Performance Peer Review in Ho.
The National Health Insurance Scheme at the end of 2023 has an active membership of 1,167,329 in the Volta region, representing 68% of the region's 2023 projected population. The Regional National Health Insurance Authority achieved its target for the year and was adjudged the best performing region in the country in 2023. Addressing the 2023 Performance Peer Review, the Volta Regional Director, Joseph Homenya, indicated that the scheme continues to make strides in service delivery.
Utilization records in the period made by members of the scheme to the health facilities for the purpose of medical care stood at 26,001,400. So you can see the utilization is very high. People are really patronizing NHI. It's not collapsing. It's growing in strength and strength. So politicians, say the truth. Thank you very much. We can safely say that the NHI is safe and in the hands of the competent people. The authority has paid most service providers in the region up to January 2024. Those who are in the system for long knows that this is one of the best times of the scheme.
He announced that about 341,016 children between 6 and 14 years would be registered and issued Ghana cards under the NHIA National Identification Authority partnership.
As part of the government's plan to register children under 18 years for the Ghana card, the NHIA is collaborating with the NIA to spearhead the registration. Staff of the NHIA in the region have been trained, and very soon, both NHIA and NIA staff will start the registration.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, asserted that the NHIS is one of the best social interventions introduced in Ghana.
Nobody should say that health insurance is not working. Sometimes I hear things on radio. Even health insurance is not working, even paracetamol they can give you. But when they are sick, they go with their cars. So the fact is that national health insurance is one of the best things that has happened to this country. And we thank President Kufuor for initiating the health insurance scheme.
The Ketu North Municipal Directorate of the NHIE was adjudged the best performing district in the country for increasing enrollment and enhancing the service of the scheme. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News. Ho.
Away from that, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has asserted that the task at the presidency is a serious responsibility that should be entrusted to capable hands. He says the job of the president should not be trivialized in political campaigning. Mr. Mahama questioned Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's claim of credit for positive outcomes of the NPP government, but failed to accept responsibility for poor governance. Here's a report by Clinton Yeboah.
The Vice President and flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, on campaign trains have been reiterating desires to further the NPP's governance after the 2024 election. In what seems like an indirect jab at Dr. Bawumia's popular catchphrase of accessing the steer by Ghanaian voters, former President Mahama said there is no place for outdated lies and empty slogans. Mr. Mahama emphasized that Ghanaians are facing critical times, needing genuine efforts to alleviate their suffering rather than shirking essential duties and offering vain promises.
The leadership of Ghana and the office of president are weighty and must be approached with the utmost seriousness. Ghanaians are in dire straits, and this is not the time for comedy. This is not the time Ghanaians are in dire straits, and this is not the time for comedy. This is not the time for concert party about passing a mythical steer to somebody. There is no space for stale falsehoods and gaslighting. Those trivializing the suffering and pain of Ghanaians and reducing important matters of governance to empty slogans and desperate promises cannot come near the leadership of this country.
According to Mr. Mahama, this is not time for jokes and entrusting leadership to someone who is responsible for the country's current turmoil.
Those whose glaring failures at economic management have sucked us into this vortex of despair, despite their lofty talk in opposition, and who now seek to flee from responsibility, cannot be rewarded with the presidency of a nation in such deep crisis. And it is unimaginable to think that those who claim, that some claim, that it's better to have an economy that has defaulted on debt, causing over 1 million bondholders, including elderly pensioners, to suffer financial haircuts, still would try to convince Ghanaians that they are in a much better position than one in which debt servicing was done timeously, without defaults, and when nobody suffered any financial loss. The presidency cannot be handed over to those who present themselves as the future, when they have been the epicenter of our disastrous present.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Now let's do some stories on climate change. As part of efforts aimed at raising public awareness about critical environmental issues, the Bono East Regional Office of the Environmental Protection Agency held a Deba at Tanobuase to mark this year's World Environmental Day. Residents of the area were encouraged to inculcate the habits of planting more trees to help minimize the degradation of the transition zone, as well as mitigate the impact of climate change. Anas Sabit has more.
It is the biggest international day for the environment, and it is aimed at reminding people about the importance of nature. Here in the Bono East region, stakeholders led by the Regional Environmental Protection Agency observed the day at Deba in Tanobuase, which was marked under the theme, Degradation in the Transition Landscape, Restore the Tano River Basin. Emmanuel Lungnile is the regional manager of the Environmental Protection Agency.
This day is important for raising public awareness about critical environmental issues and encouraging individuals, communities, groups and nations to take actions that are required to protect the environment. Because the environment provides services that are shared. It provides services that are shared in nature.
He bemoaned some human activities that continuously contribute to land degradation in the transiting zone and admonished the people, particularly farmers, to develop the habit of planting more trees on their farms to save the situation.
Mind you, we have indicated that for land restoration to make a significant impact on the ecosystem and on our livelihoods, we have to plant a large number of trees in the areas that are degraded, and also commit ourselves to nurturing the trees that we are growing so that they grow into a forest that can, generate the ecosystem benefits such as the soil erosion control, and many others that we have talked about.
Job Osei is the Chief Executive Officer of Green Generation Farms, who are partners to the event. He disclosed that the negative impacts of climate change is adversely affecting human and animal existence, as the situation is even affecting poultry production in the area.
Looking back some years ago, Techiman was more of a forested area. But what do we see today? Gradually it is turning into a savanna zone. The temperatures we see here today are very high, and this is affecting the poultry production. It's leading into high mortality rates, is leading into the drop in the egg production. So if we all collaborate and protect the environment, we believe we can reduce the impact.
He encouraged the people of the area to embrace tree planting, adding that each house should at least have a tree planted around it.
We have launched a program in the northern region which we call One Household, One Tree, where we encourage people to plant trees. I believe the general public can take a cue from that, where every house is supposed to plant a tree, at least one house, one tree. If that project is able to stand, we'll see that the entire landscape will be covered with trees.
Nifahene of the Tanabuasi traditional area, who spoke on behalf of the Omahene, promised to ensure that steps are taken to help nurture the trees planted on the day, as well as embark on a sensitization campaign to help protect the environment. Sabit, Joy News, Tanabuasi.
In a related development, a delegation of Nigerian environmentalists and waste management experts visited Ghana to tour the Jospon Group of Companies' facilities. The visit aimed to gather insight on advanced waste management and recycling practices to enhance Nigeria's environmental sustainability efforts. There's more in this report, filed by Adobia Asari.
Delegates from the Association of Waste Managers of Nigeria toured the Jospon Group's facilities in Ghana to inspect and learn about its advanced waste management practices. They observed the process of recycling various materials, including paper, plastic, and metals into useful products. Impressed by the innovative and technological approaches being employed at these facilities, the delegation, led by the association's president, Olugbenga Adebola, expressed a hope for future collaborations.
It's very impressive, wonderful private sector investment, and it's with a facility like this, you can be rest assured that you reduce the effect of the climate change, improve effective and efficient waste management, because of course, waste is not a waste unless you waste it. And what is happening here is not wasting the waste. extracting the valuables from the waste and then treating it. So it's impressive. We are doing something in Lagos, but of course Lagos is always ready for improvement. Lagos is ready for, because of course for me there's always a room for cross-border collaboration and all that. So of course Lagos is ready.
Plant manager of the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant, Malik Ganyo, shared his optimism about strengthening ties between Ghana and Nigeria in waste management initiatives.
This delegation is to basically familiarize themselves with our operations as a waste management company. There have been some conversations ongoing with Jospon Group in Nigeria, where we are looking at replicating similar projects across Africa. And this is one of such visits by these key stakeholders to understand the kind of technology we are using, and then look forward to some fruitful conversations that we can escalate into bringing similar facilities in Lagos and beyond. The feedback has been good so far. They are very impressed with the amount of work that have gone on. And the environment, although we are managing waste, look, it's very clean. And you all can attest to the environmental consciousness of this facility. And we look forward to replicating similar, if not better, in Lagos and beyond.
Creating waste is inevitable for humans. However, how we manage that waste is a choice. Recycling is essential to preserving our environment. Remember, waste isn't truly waste until it's wasted.
And now, the Sickle Cell Disease Support Group of Ghana is advocating for greater participation of patient support organizations in policy development. In a statement, the Sickle Cell Disease Support Group acknowledged the efforts of the healthcare workforce, the government and non-governmental organizations in the fight against sickle cell disease. They also celebrated the pioneers who've worked tirelessly to increase awareness of the disease, but says significant challenges remain, including intermittent shortages of hydroxyurea, a crucial medication for sickle cell disease, and its limited availability under the National Health Insurance Scheme. The Sickle Cell Disease Support Group emphasized the need for immediate government action to incorporate penicillin prophylaxis into the NHIS to improve survival rates for children with sickle cell disease. They also highlighted the critical shortage of drug compounding and reconstitution pharmacies in government hospitals, which hampers effective treatment and care for sickle cell disease patients. And that's it. Coming up next is Business Update.